Hi, this is Matt Biondo, lead saber and broadsword instructor for Niagara Historical Fencing, and today I'm going to be breaking down the Longsword finals from the 2023 Frost on the Blade tournament in Barrie, Ontario. You're going to see both myself and a great fencer from Toronto, Oscar, fence for the gold medal. So let's take a look. Okay, so right off the bat, the first thing you're going to notice is both myself and Oscar like to play with distance and measure. We both have a bit of a modern Olympic fencing background, and you'll see that come out in the footwork traps, half steps, and general back and forth of our fencing. Okay, so what you saw there was Oscar probing for some rising false edge cuts to the hand. Oscar really likes these because he'll pull people into a lower guard and then go for a higher target, which is exactly what he did there. And I guess now would be a good time to talk about the scoring system at Frost on the Blade. So the way it works is the scores to 7 points, and hits to the hand are worth 1 point, hits to the body and head are worth 2 points. In that exchange, this is again something Oscar likes to do. He will bait someone to attack first. So he'll throw his sword into kind of a feinting action and then hold off on his actual attack. He'll then bait the attack from his opponent. Once he lands that block, he will throw a zwerk to the body, and it's extremely effective and very good fencing.
Fencers ready.
So this is a really good exchange. You have both myself and Oscar going back and forth with the footwork. I'm trying to get him to commit something, but he's not taking the bait. So I decide I'm going to launch a double attack. The first attack gets parried. I go around to the other side. The judge says that that is not a hit. And then Oscar comes with a high attack afterwards, and I cover myself in Ox on the escape. So Oscar finally gets his false edge rising cut to the hand out here. Seeing as how I'm typically a saber slash broadsworder, you see me slip back and throw the typical cut 7 vertical cut to try and time cut it, but unfortunately I was a little too slow. And now that will bring Oscar to 5 points. So at this point I have 0 and he has 5. He is 1 head or body shot away from gold. So here I see Oscar trying to take the initiative in the fight, so I throw a attack so that he has to be put on the defensive. He parries it, and I throw out a secondary attack as kind of like a beating action just in case he threw a riposte. We back up for a minute, and then I use some explosive footwork and a feinting action to come around his guard and hit him in the arm. And now I finally have a point on the board. So at this point you can hear us huffing and puffing. It's very exhausting keeping up with that kind of footwork. Oscar's an extremely athletic person, and I feel like he has that advantage over me, so I'm quite tired at this point. So again, we're playing with the distance, but he decides to go in with kind of like a thrust action, and he's doing some disengages while he's throwing his point forward. I realize that he's weak in this moment, so I kind of throw a cut that turns into a thrust. It offlines his blade, and I get the point. So Oscar immediately starts this exchange with a one-handed cut to the legs, which I dodge, but then he expertly recovers, so I'm unable to capitalize on any advantages I could have had there. Then he starts trying to play with the distance. I'm trying to bait him into something, but he's not taking the bait. So I go in with it's initially an Oberhau and feinted into a Rising Cut, and he takes a really low flug position, which ends up actually blocking the blade. Locks me up a little bit, so I decide to go in for the grapple and call a pommel while motioning the pommel attack to his head, which ultimately ties up the score 5-5. So at this point, either of us could win with a attack to the head or body. For this final exchange, I feel like the nerves were getting to Oscar at this point. He's just seen me come back from a 0-5 deficit, so I feel like he rushes this exchange, didn't have the correct measure as well, and also decided to use a indirect feinting attack. And for me, anytime someone does a feinting attack, my typical response is a time hit, and that's exactly what I did. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.